The first item of order of business is the approval of the minutes for the April 29th, 2024 meeting.
Move to approve.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Our next item is item number 0374-24, subject communication sponsored by Alder Land on behalf of Park Director Tom Malbach, Recreation and Cultural Services, requesting that Graceland Cemetery sections 16 and 19 alleyway surveys be approved, allowing for future sales of additional grave sites. I'll turn it over to Attorney
Sure.
Malbach.
So the last couple of years, the Park and Rec Department has been working with Nielsen Matson Barber on surveying alleyways in certain plats. So just real quick, if you see the purple sections, that was done last year. And this particular item is the yellow section. And what this is back in the day, cemeteries had plots that had alleyways. They called them alleyways for individuals or families to be able to get to sections of their loved ones in the cemetery. And over time, a lot of cemeteries have filled up or are looking for ways to increase grave space. So what we've been able to do over the last couple of years, and then what we're asking for now, is to be able to have the alleyways surveyed so that the grave space then can be sellable grave space, as long as we get the survey done by a certified company and then bring over that surveyed map to Register of Deeds to put that into legal format. So with that, these two sections, section 16, which was the smaller, the yellow one, has about 150 additional grave spaces, and 19, which was the bigger one, has about 209 additional grave spaces with this survey being done. So what we're looking for you is to approve it at this level so it can go to council, and that we would be able to start selling these sometime in June, hopefully.
Thank you, sir. Committee? Yes. Alder Freeman?
Yeah, a quick question to start out. I'm looking back at the February of 2023 agenda from last year on the sections 5, 17, 18, and 22. Why weren't these included at that time? What's the thought behind that?
Well, it had this professional services came out of our CIP, and the dollar amounts we were floating around with, and this is the first time we were doing this. This is something kind of new for us, and so we decided to go with these 4 spots. These were the most, most requested locations because of people wanting to be as close as they could to their loved ones in those areas. Instead of, not having an alleyway in plot 18, the closest one was, 9, it was so far away. So now with doing this, we weren't sure how they were going to go. Well, they started selling right away. And so we thought that by adding 19 and 16 here, we would be done for a little bit at this point in Graceland, because we would have enough to accommodate any space that we felt was needed.
And then what would be the additional fee collection with that additional space?
I estimated using the dollar amount that we have now for grave space, which is for residents at $915. Section 16, the smaller one, would be about $137,000, and section 19 would just be about $190,000.
Thank you.
And yes, Alder.
Thank you. Thank you. Tom, I recall back when this issue came up with Mound Cemetery, and there's an area in Mound Cemetery that had not been platted, and that the proposal was to sell unplatted land in that portion of Mound Cemetery. This goes back to probably 2014. I think you recall that it was pretty controversial at the time.
You're talking about the roundabout?
Yep.
Yes, okay.
Yep. So how is this different?
Oh, is this different?
Yep.
Well, my understanding is the one that questioned that the roundabout was possibly an Indian burial ground. So we'd never furthered any surveys or anything to further sales on that. So that was pretty much when the time came to either do it or don't. I think the city bowed out and not did it anymore because there was no certainty that if it was or wasn't Indian burial ground.
And then I recall when the cemetery commission was active, this had been discussed several times, I believe, at cemetery commission. I don't recall what the thinking was as far as moving this forward.
I don't know if we knew exactly what to do back then. I know at one point, I think several cemeteries that, under what I've been gathering, I'm not saying that that's the truth, that cemeteries were just going ahead and selling these alleyway spaces without getting them surveyed and properly and legally put into registered deeds. And I don't know if we knew any better back then. Now, talking with Nielsen Matson Barber, who is the firm that we go through, they said, no, they can come out, they're certified to do this survey work, and that by getting the proper signatures by them saying that they're certified, getting it properly through a committee and council, getting a resolution number, and having the proper signatures from the city, now you're able to go ahead and sell those grave spaces that are properly surveyed.
Okay, then I see that this communication was put forward by Alderman Land, which tells me that it should have gone to the Board of Parks, but that did not happen.
Right. So even though the minutes do not show it, because they don't show any of the conversations from what I've been on the minutes, there is a cemetery report. The cemetery report basically is a sheet of a document that shows revenue that is taken in for crypts, niches, and grave spaces. During that same time, I, as the director, go over different projects, different situations, different things that are coming up at the cemetery to inform the rest of the Board of Parks and Recreation. And the last two meetings, those were brought up because we knew that this was going to be going to committee and council. Just to tell you that we've been sometimes hitting or missing on quorum, and I didn't want to have it on the last one just in case it didn't make it, because then this would be pushed off, and we know that the summertime council is not meeting every time, so I felt that if I gave them enough information, which I felt I did, and they all were comfortable with it because of the first time we did it, and it's being successful, that I felt that we bypass any approval point with the Park and Rec Board and brought it right here to the committee.
And I did ask Attorney New if there is any city ordinance regarding the platting in the cemeteries or any state statute that we have to be concerned about.
So there's no ordinance that pertains directly to that. However, there is a state law under 157.07, and it basically just states that before the city or any cemetery authority can sell plots of land, it has to be properly surveyed and platted by a professional surveyor. And then after it gets approved by the Common Council and the committee, it would then be registered with the Register of Deeds. At that point, it could be sold.
Okay. And you did say that this has not yet been surveyed.
Oh, no, this is all completely done. What I showed you that was in the yellow, that's all set and ready to go. The actual original documents that are signed by Nielsen Matson Barber are in my office. Once it goes through council, then I will bring it to city clerk, Amber at this point, and have the proper signature. So from that point, then I can bring over the register of deeds.
Well, based on the state statute, I'm comfortable with doing this, although I did have some concerns that we don't have the cemetery commission, who were dedicated people who understood the statutes, they understood the ordinances, they understood other cemeteries. I would have been far more comfortable had it come through the cemetery commission to the Board of Parks and then here, but I understand why you brought it directly here, so I don't have a problem with it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments from the committee?
Motion to approve?
I have a
Second.
motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Our next item is 040124, sub-communication sponsored by myself, Alder Pete, on behalf of the City Clerk's Office, requesting a temporary extension of license premise for Buckets Pub Round 2, LLC DBA Buckets Pub Round 2, located at 2031 Lathrop Avenue, large Class B license on June 2nd, June 23rd, July 28th, August 11th, and August 25th. Thank you for coming forward. Attorney Arn, would you please swear the applicant in?
Sure. Can you raise your right hand? Thank you. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you?
Yes.
Hello again. Could you please again explain exactly what it is that you plan to do so the committee can make a good choice?
Okay, so on those dates, my partner Anna Legaff had come down first, and then for some reason, we didn't get put on the first calendar. So, we really only want 2 dates at this point, because we're looking just for June 2nd and August 11th, only because the timing, we were looking for farmer's market, it just got too delayed. I know.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So on June 2nd, we would like to use the front space of our map, where it's our 1-year anniversary.
Mhm.
Actually, it's the middle of May, but due to graduation. So we would just like to have that open so that, out in the road, you can see, we're gonna block it off, have, just like tables, bags out there, more like a picnic area. And then the same thing for the Sunday, August 11th would be very similar. We want to do, being a sports bar, a Brewers tailgate party out front.
Okay.
With, again, like bags and things you
Sure.
see in the, Brewers.
Would you be selling alcohol or food out? Will they be able to carry that out?
Yeah, that's why we're asking for the extension of the permit.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I support this wholly. They pubs or buckets used to have that parking lot all the time. And we kinda took it away from them, and I didn't think that was right anyway, but I support what these guys are doing, and I hope that we would approve this.
I think we did it last year, and I think it worked out good. Alder Widener?
Thank you. So the next request is for like a permanent change in premise. So I'm wondering why you're not asking for a permanent change so that you don't have to come back every year.
Well, I
asking for
should.
special
When we
dates.
first did, it just seemed like that wasn't possible anymore, talking with the attorney that we weren't doing parking lots anymore. And I had specifically said the reason, like, especially being a sports bar, we were gonna ask that, and that's a great idea, why I probably will come back, is we would like to do bus trips, and when you do bus trips, if you charter a bus, you can bring alcohol on your bus, and, so that, and then it just seemed like that wasn't a possibility, we went for the license, and it was really quick, so I didn't. So this year, we just thought we would try these 2 events, but that will probably be what I end up doing.
Was that last year that you had that understanding?
Yeah, because, so it was just May 13th that we opened, so that's
Yeah.
when we went for the initial license. And, I spoke with, I'm not sure if you were the same attorney, and, that was like, oh, we're not doing license, or we're not, and Buckets had always had the parking lot included. And then my understanding, we were told, nope, they're no longer including parking lots, and don't even try it, so that's why we're asking for these 2 dates at this point.
I'm wondering if Attorney Arn could explain that.
This application went before the committee, and the committee decided not to include the parking lot. So during the Good Neighbors meeting, I will typically speak with the applicants and let them know, what they have to do, and I tell them the problems associated with having alcohol in the parking lot where there are cars parked, but ultimately the decision was made by the committee.
I just took it off, so I don't think it was made by the committee, because after talking with you, we didn't even request
Yep, you
it.
decided not to.
Correct.
Please come back.
Yeah,
Alder Capri?
Thank you. Yeah, and just to kind of add some historical bits on that discussion, just because a past business has the ability to utilize the parking lot, it does not move along with that business when there's a new application. It has to be up for review at that time. So just to speak on, it might have been something done in the past, but you were somebody new taking it over, so it was reviewed at that time. But, I just have a question about your timing that is being requested, and just to make sure it's accurate, because it, seems like a short amount of time, but not to say somebody organizing it probably thinks differently.
Okay.
But you have from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., is that accurate?
That's correct.
That's it, okay. Thank you.
Any other questions of the committee? Seeing none, a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
I have a motion, a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
So I know that the applicant said that she was gonna remove several of the dates when we approved this. Are we approving all the dates that were originally requested, or just the two?
I think we'd have to make an amendment, wouldn't we, just to approve the two?
Clarify.
Yes. So then I think we should back up. And would someone like to make a motion to make the amendment for June 2nd and August 11th?
So moved.
Second.
And then I'll
Okay.
second it. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Well, I didn't hear.
Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second to strike June 23rd and June 28th and just use the dates June 2nd and August 11th. Okay.
I wasn't clear on that. but
Okay, yeah, the second and the August 11th. Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, motion passes.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thank you. Our next item is item number 041424, communication sponsored by myself.
Say aye, did
Hmm?
you? I don't think we did.
What?
We didn't call the question. All those in favor say aye. It
Oh,
was
I
just
thought
a
I
motion-
did.
No, it was just a motion and a second.
Oh,
and then
okay,
amendment
all
and a
those in
second.
favor, please say
Okay.
aye.
Aye.
Okay, I guess I heard, okay, now the motion officially passes. Okay, we're good. Okay, item number 041424, communication sponsored by myself on behalf of the city clerk's office, submitting an application for a premise description change for the branch at 1501 LLC, DBA The Branch at 1501, located at 1501 Washington Avenue, Racine, Wisconsin, 53403. Kristen Campbell, Agent, 3rd District. May the applicant please come up? Here.
The alder is raising her hand.
Yes, Alder Davis?
Christina is not present. I was reaching out for she that she did not, well, she just received the information as it was mailed out May 8th. Is it a possibility to
Defer.
defer turn?
Mr. Chair, I.
Yes, please.
I can actually on this item.
Please.
This was actually done at my request. I contacted, the agent, Ms. Campbell, because it came to my attention from the health department that part of the premises was being used as a shared commercial kitchen. With a Class B premise, state law does prohibit any other business from being conducted on a Class B premises. I spoke with Ms. Campbell. She wanted to continue to run the shared commercial kitchen. So the only way to really resolve it so that she could do both was to kind of split the premises. So what this premise description change does is it limits her premise to not include the kitchen. So she would not be serving alcohol in the kitchen. There would be no alcohol stored, sold, or consumed in the kitchen area. That would be completely separate. It would be used as a business for a shared commercial kitchen. That way she can continue to run her business, the branch, with the Class B license and continue to do the shared commercial. So I would ask that the committee approve it so that she can do that.
I have no problem with that. Yes, Alder Widener?
I do have a question. The premise request also includes the parking lot, doesn't it? Outside of the building, directly behind the branch in the private
Yeah.
parking lot.
So
7 days per week from 7 a.m. to midnight.
So the current premise description right now already includes parts of the premise, of the parking lot. She amended that a while ago, so it's currently part of the parking lot. So the only change that you're approving today is, the minus the kitchen area. Everything else remains the same.
Look, I just read her request.
Anyone else? I have a question because of the way the branch is laid out. Can people that order from the kitchen, can they go back and forth, the patrons go back and forth, or what's to stop them?
Well, as I understand it, the premise is currently separated sort of by a wall and a door that will be kept locked. So the Class B premise would include everything up to the door and not including the kitchen. So the employees, for example, can't carry alcohol back into the kitchen, they can't store it there, they can't work out of the kitchen area, the employees of the branch. But the patrons, obviously, there are two businesses, they're right next to each other, they can go into one, then they can go into another one. They just can't carry alcohol from one area to the other because the bar and the Class B premise is only the branch portion minus the kitchen. Does that answer your question?
Yes, but I was just thinking, they also have events, private events, where the kitchen might want to cater to the patrons inside the bar.
So this would prohibit that.
Okay.
So because the kitchen is now separated from the branch and from the Class B premises, you can't use that as part of the Class B premises. That's the only way it would work.
Okay. Okay. Any other?
Chairman?
Alder Weidman?
There's somebody down there has a question.
Yes.
This is actually for the clerk's office. After we have discussions like this, we are making amendments to the license. Is this something that you're typing up now, moving forward from in the past, just so the police department has the most current language and changes that this body has made?
Yeah, so any changes made on the licenses, we will have them, the applicant turn in the old licenses and we update with the new license so that they have it on the wall. It will have the correct verbiage and timage on there.
So that would happen when the June, July comes up, or that happens when? So for this one in particular here, if we do make these amendments and changes.
After it's approved by council, I would essentially call the applicant the next day to do that change, and this will also be on her renewal as well.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So I just want to understand regarding the parking lots. So last year, when the bucket, boys, whatever it's called now, when they applied, they were discouraged from applying for the parking lot. And does the same thing apply to the branch?
So let me say, I don't remember the specific conversation with buckets. I see a lot of applications that come through when we do the Good Neighbors. On my checklist for the Good Neighbors report is to review the premise description, and if I see a parking lot in there, I will usually let the applicant know, and ask them questions about whether it's also being used for vehicles, where will their cars be driving in and out of the parking lot, stuff like that. And based on that conversation, I will either say you can leave it on, and you can go to the committee and you can make that request. But here are the problems that I see associated with it, the legal problems, and it's up to you. And I always let the applicant make that decision. She states she took it off, and the committee didn't see that request. But that is my checklist for all applications.
So then, over your recommendation, the committee could have gone in a different direction?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anytime,
That's what I want to clarify.
of course.
Any other questions?
No, just a comment. So I know when this has been happening more so than anything is when we get a new person taking over the bar. That's when it seems to happen. It happened at Joey's on Taylor and stuff like that every time we seem to get a new bar. But we've never had problems at this one here at the branch either, so I'd like to keep it that way.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, a motion would be in order. Yes. I'm sorry.
Nope, just playing with my glasses.
Oh, okay. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion?
Can we clarify what the motion is?
The motion
Because
is,
in the communication, it has the parking lot, so.
okay. It's my understanding, we're simply separating the kitchen from the bar.
So the motion is to approve the amended premise description, which currently states, behind the bar, downstairs in the cooler and shelf, consumption in the main area, both upstairs and downstairs, not including kitchen, and south side of the building directly behind the branch in the private parking lot. That's the premise description that you are.
So it is including the parking lot?
The parking lot has been a part of the premise description, that is not changing.
Okay.
So should that then be part of the motion?
No, the motion is just to approve the change as requested. So that's what the motion is, to approve that language.
And that's what I'm struggling with, because the request includes that parking lot.
Right, but the parking lot is not what's being changed. So the only change is the subtraction of the kitchen area.
Okay.
I understand why I'm confused.
Okay.
So it would just be a motion to approve, and that's
Separating the kitchen and the bar, basically.
essentially.
Okay. I think we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Our next item is communication sponsored by myself, Alder Pete, on behalf of the city clerk's office, submitting a new application for a massage establishment license, LI.
Skipped one.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, I skipped 36824. Item number 036824, communication sponsored by myself on behalf of the city clerk's office, submitting a new application for a public dance hall license, Banquet Hall Brendis, LLC, DBA Banquet Hall Brendis, located at 3319 Washington Avenue, Georgiana, Paseo, Agent 13th District. May the applicant please come up.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. Attorney Arn will now swear you in.
It's actually not necessary if it's
Okay.
not alcohol.
Okay, thank you. Well, could you please explain the change?
So we're just here applying, I'm just speaking on behalf of my mom.
Okay,
Thank you.
We're here applying for the public dance hall license at 3319 Washington Ave. Basically what her plan is, as the owner, is to take a part, it used to be an old church building that hasn't been used for a while, is to take a part of that, building to, rent it out for private family events. And we just, since people are gonna be dancing and there's gonna be music playing, that's why we're applying for the license.
yes.
Couple questions. How many of these things do you plan on doing different? Because this is, generally, where houses are more than the church. I know this is on the corner, they got plenty of parking because they got a municipal lot down there. But I worry about if there's a lot of loud music with all the homes around, and that's why I'm asking.
How many, are you asking?
How many
events?
events do you plan on using, and how are you gonna, you know, you gotta do something about keeping the noise down for the neighbors and stuff. Sure, I will, that's on the corner. No, Washington Avenue. So we're planning about, once every weekend, usually we average about 3, weekends a month. She's just saying that the things that we would do to kind of keep the noise down, we would properly secure the, area, keep all doors closed, minimize the noise. The equipment that's used for playing, the music wouldn't be anything too extravagant. Again, like we mentioned, they're just family private parties like baby showers, first communions, things like that. And along with all that, we'd also follow any rules that are set to, like noise control rules. And I know being that this is for private parties, alcohol can be served at these places, and my concern is how you're gonna handle that. Because they don't need a license for that, for a private place, am I correct? A lot of other places.
Well, it depends on whether it's open to the public or if it's just they, so there are a couple things they could do, but yes, in certain circumstances, they can serve alcohol.
Well, that's my concern, you know, having alcohol at these places. How are you guys gonna handle a large crowd?
Es el alcohol, que cómo vas a controlar, cuando tenemos. Pero ellos pueden traer su alcohol, pero nosotros
We won't be providing or serving any alcohol in the case that the guests choose to bring their own alcohol. They'll know that they're liable for anything, but, we will also be providing security services to be monitoring the people at all times.
But ultimately, you guys are still responsible.
Right.
And I mean, I'm not against it or anything like that, I just wanna, you know, it's not a business area, it's a lot of residential around there, so I just have a few concerns about that. I mean, it's nice to see that space being utilized, so, thank you.
I agree with Alder Cole, but I do want to make sure that you understand, and your mom understands, that even though the guests may bring the alcohol, because it's your place of business, you're still legally responsible for this, whatever happens or doesn't happen. Hopefully it goes smoothly, but I want to make sure that's clear. Hmm?
Yeah, she understands that she is ultimately responsible. She is covered, or, she's covered by insurance for any liability of that as well. But yeah, she fully understands that at the end of the day, she would be the one responsible if something were to happen.
Okay, last question, how
I
much
think
experience do you guys have doing this type of thing?
My mom has been the owner of a property in Kenosha since 2014 called Banquet Luminarias. That is, the same, like an open space that we rent out for private family parties. There is a bar, we do have permits to serve alcohol there, so we also provide security service there if the bar is ever opened. So she's got like a decade of experience doing this, and we've never had a problem over there. So she's ready, she knows what to expect if things do go wrong, and she knows how to handle them.
Okay. Alder White, thank you. Thank you, Alder Whitener. I thought you had your hand up again.
I do it, and this question for Attorney New. West Racine has had a covenant kind of where no alcohol was sold, and then that got broken when, got the name of the bar, Dunk's opened in West Racine. And I don't know if there was a special circumstance in that he got that license, and if we're approving a dance hall, if that's just a way to open the gate for alcohol, maybe not to be sold, but to be served and utilized.
A couple responses to that. I would have to do some research. I do remember Dunk's coming in. I don't remember the exact circumstances as to how that got started or what allowed that to happen. But in this particular case, it's just a public dance hall license, so it's not, I mean, I guess you could argue once you grant this license, it could lead to something else, but again, that would have to go before the committee. It would be a completely different request, and take a look at that request at that time. So right now, it's just a public.
And a follow-up to that would probably be for the police department. So if someone has a public dance hall license and there are problems there, even though alcohol is not being sold, it's being served, would that still be an issue for the police department? Would they still have the ability to come in and break up fights or whatever takes place when alcohol seems to get served?
If they called us,
Yep, or if someone did.
if somebody calls us, then yes. We have a duty to respond. We wouldn't go knocking on the door.
Right.
Because obviously we would have no idea what event was going on in there at that particular. But if they called us, yes, we would.
Thank you.
I mean, it's been a practice that I know around here for, that when you have dances like this, you guys hire security, am I correct? I mean, most places will hire an off-duty officer, but they usually, I think they have to have some type of security there when they're having an event, am I correct?
Not legal requirement, though.
Okay, but I mean, it's been common around here, that's why I asked that question. All right, thank you.
Yes.
Last question, I promise. Do the neighbors get notified that a business like this is gonna go in what is really Blaine Washington Avenue is a residential neighborhood?
I don't believe we do red, code red. We don't do code red here, which would notify the.
Code red
Is when the clerk's office sends out phone calls and messages for surrounding neighbors within a particular area to let them know that this application is coming through for this address.
the alderman for that district aware?
Yes,
Oh, that was
she is.
you?
I was
kinda
waiting
thought
for
so.
you to be done so I could talk.
You wait till you shut up, okay, I'll let you know.
Okay, Alder Kelly,
All
please.
right, thank you. I know your family had reached out to me, and had asked me, and you told me a little bit of a brief description about what you guys were thinking about, bringing there. This building has sat vacant, and there's been some concerns with loitering and things like that in the area just because it's been vacant. So I support seeing something coming into the area. But I'm unclear as far as with what was provided, like what type of hours that you guys are gonna be operating these parties.
Typically, a party would range from 3 p.m. to midnight. Again, if there are any circumstances where that is not allowed, we will adjust to the amount of time that we're allowed to. A lot of the times, I will say they can even, be even smaller, like a baby shower would go for 4 hours. Again, it's not much of like a nightclub type of deal or anything like that. So we, as much as, want people to celebrate their parties, we are aware that it's in a residential area, and we don't want to bring any harm to the community, rather help people have a place to safely and responsibly celebrate the event. So, again, it's just like weddings, baptisms, any birthday parties, things like that, that we're planning.
Are you renting from someone?
She's the owner, she's not renting.
Oh, you are, okay. And are you bringing in outside food and?
No. All the guests are allowed to bring their own drinks, their own food. We're just providing the location for them to come. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Yes.
Thank you. This question is for Attorney. If, because we're approving this through this committee, even though we're not approving a liquor license, let's say something did go awry. If something did go awry and we're hearing some level of concern, would it have to go through a due process to remove, or is there a different process?
There is a due process. It would not be the normal process that it would not be the same as an alcohol license. It would go before this committee. You would give the applicant or the licensee time. You would listen to the allegations, decide the complaint, and then make a vote.
Okay,
This has been a review.
so a little bit simpler then.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments from the committee? Being none, a motion would be in order to approve.
So moved.
Have a motion. Is there a second to approve? Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes.
Good luck, guys.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Our next item is 0403-24, subject communication sponsored by Alder Pete on behalf of the City Clerk's Office, submitting a new application for a massage establishment license, LIU DBA Main Massage, located at 1324 Main Street, Racine, WI 53402, LI Lou, owner, 4th District. Thank you for coming forward. Attorney Arn, would you please swear the applicant in?
We actually don't need to swear them in if it's not a liquor license.
I'm sorry?
We actually do not need to swear them in if it's
Okay.
not a liquor.
Okay. Can you please explain the change, what you're planning on doing?
No.
I just, her friend will help you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Could you explain what you're going to be doing with the, I know it's a massage, but could you give us some details about your business plan, what you plan on doing there in terms of your business plan?
他就问你对那个安慰公计划
店有什么改变吗？还是什么？
就是现在目前嘛，那个就是这个就是变化不算太大，但是说现在不断就是我就是做面膜就是做的就是已经是做到就是很好的那个程度了，能欢迎客人很喜欢，客人现在也很多喜欢我们这个地方的面膜，做的也非常客人非常满意。
Okay, excuse me, could you help,
Yes.
please?
She said she doesn't have any change for that place at all when she's working for massage therapists for many years. So she believes she can handle that place for her good business part.
Any, you wanna, did she have any more to add?
你要再加点什么吗？
是那个腹皮按摩，腹皮。
Oh, she like to do more like a couple massages. Like to the couple coming together. Yeah. Yeah. That she add that one.
Alder Cole?
No. Is there anything from the city attorney's office?
I don't have anything to add now.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions from the committee? Yes.
Just a couple questions, probably for the attorney. So I see that the massage person has a license from California. Someone opening a massage parlor in Wisconsin required to have a Wisconsin license to perform massages?
Yes.
So,
This is a massage establishment license. So usually masseuses are licensed through the state, so she should have that license. She is licensed. She has her license number, and it's dated under state of Wisconsin, so she is licensed. It's on page 23 of your packet, right at the top.
so the license number that I see says Ontario, California. Is that not correct? I'm just not understanding, so go ahead, clerk's office has it.
So we did run her numbers via the state website for massage establishments for people who are, certified through the state, and her license number is certified with the state. So I'm not sure why, I think that's just an address of where she was when she got certified through the state of Wisconsin potentially, like that's maybe where she was living. The numbers are active in the state.
Okay, so the applicant's current address, if I'm understanding the paperwork correctly, is Beaver Dam. Is that correct? Beaver Dam?
你现在的地址是那个 Beaver Dam 那个地址。
那个
Is that California or Chicago? Or
Wisconsin.
It's in Wisconsin.
Yeah, I saw
It
that
says
too.
1626 North Spring Street, Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, 53916. That's her employment.
你那个地址是那个6级那个健身。
不是那个我是那个什么，他说那个第什么单所那个我在那工作过，搁那工作原来。
She said she was working there.
Okay.
Or, yeah, that's the address for.
So, what is her current address?
你现在 you mean the home, right? 就是
我住的地方是家哥。
It's this one, the 215 West 25th, PL, Chicago, Illinois, 60616.
Yeah.
So she lives in Chicago?
Yeah.
And she's gonna open a business here and be here every day to run her business, or?
Yeah. Now, yes.
Okay.
Are you is she planning on moving here?
他问你是准备搬到这边来吗？所以说才在这边开的店。
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. And is there a set time or?
什么时间？就是现在是正在租房。
She's looking for an apartment right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
The photos, place for leaving now.
Yes, sir, Alderman, thank you.
I guess this is for Noah. If they live out of state, they can still do this? Like alcohol, you have to live in state. Is this different?
It is different, there's no equivalent requirement.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments from the committee then?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
All right.
Motion passes. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is 041324, subject communication sponsored by Alder Pete on behalf of the city clerk's office, submitting a new application for a public dance hall for Cafina LLC DBA Marcos, but it looks like they
Move to defer.
moved to defer because of
Yeah, at least till the end of the meeting, they left.
I saw that.
So I don't know. And we'll come visit it at the end of the meeting.
Okay. We have a motion to defer. Is there a second? Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, to defer item 041324. All in favor, please say aye.
That's why I was confused.
Aye.
Hi.
What? Motion passes. What? Did you?
Well, no, if we were gonna just push it down to the end of the
Oh, yeah,
agenda, we
that's-
didn't need a vote, but now that we voted, we've deferred it to the next agenda, but
No, they
they may
walked
not
out.
come back,
Yeah.
so that's fine.
Okay, item
I know.
0320, what?
Okay.
We're done?
No, we're good, now we're on to the next agenda.
All right.
Those are the end of it.
Yeah.
033224, subject communication sponsored by Alder Pete on behalf of the Public Safety and Licensing Committee, requesting the appearance of David Lewis, agent for Duo Bar and Grill LLC, located at 1102 Mound Avenue, pursuant to a formal expression of concern and also requesting consideration of rescinding the formal expression of concern, 8th District. Thank you for coming forward. Attorney Arthur, please.
Raise your right hand, please. Thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, you've been called in today because the committee has received notice of one or more concerning incidents at your establishment. As a result, the committee has issued a formal expression of concern against you under Section 627 of the ordinance to address issues related to the premise, including but not limited to the vehicular homicide from March 3rd, 2024, Racine Police Department Incident 24-8973, wherein an underage individual was found in your establishment earlier that same night. If you are issued two within a 6-month period or three or more in a 1-year period, you will be referred to the city attorney's office for disciplinary proceedings. We will start with the police department's summary. After that, you will have an opportunity to address the committee. You're not required to discuss the specific incident unless you wish, but you do have to tell us how you intend to address the issue going forward. Sergeant Tillman, can you please speak on the item?
Sure. You want to just talk about that one particular incident or numerous?
All of them.
I think I heard all of them.
Okay, all right. Well, dating back to November of last year, there's been 16 calls for service at Duo. Some of them are extra attentions, which are initiated by the officers who are working on the shift, just due to the issues that are at the bar in itself. So they'll sometimes go and park in the area, see if there's any issues that pop up, and if they are, they'll address them. So there's, like I said, 16 of those to include those calls, but then there's other calls for service, as far as man with a gun call was one, and then obviously the most notable one is this one that happened at the beginning of March, when there was a vehicular homicide that happened shortly after a patron who was underage left the bar. So, in summary, Mr. Ivory was 18 years old at the time, was at the establishment He was seen there at about 15:30 hours, which is 3:30 p.m. A witness stated they saw him leave in a hurry. As part of the investigation, the investigator looked into it and found out that he was, Mr. Ivory was indeed at Duos prior to the crash. And just to step back a second, so as a result of the crash, Mr. Ivory passed away, and the other driver of the other vehicle passed away as well, Mr. Sanchez. So at the beginning of the investigation, traffic investigator Gullifer attempted to make contact with Mr. Lewis. He did so at that point in time, asked him if there was an event on the 2nd of March at or about 11 a.m. He asked Lewis if he would be able to review surveillance video from the date. Mr. Lewis stated he wasn't sure that there was an event, but would check the master schedule, stated he would return his phone call. Mr. Gullifer, or P.I. Gullifer, did not receive a phone call back on the 2nd. Therefore, T.I. Gullifer drafted a search warrant for the security system. And on March 11th, he got the search warrant approved and it was signed off by the judge. Phone contact was attempted again, negative results. Did receive one return phone call from Mr. Lewis after business hours. Mr. Gullifer, or T.I. Gullifer rather, states that he did provide his work cell phone number and his office number. T.I. Gullifer watched the business several times, but was unable to, during the daytime hours, but was unable to get any sort of idea that the business was open, so he was not able to contact anyone. On the 15th of March, at about 5 p.m., it appeared that Duos was open for business. T.I. Gullifer made contact at 5:41 p.m., served the search warrant, entered the establishment, made contact with Melissa Gister. She eventually stated that the closed-circuit TV goes to the owner's phone. He made a phone call to Jared Taylor. T.I. Gullifer spoke with Jared Taylor, provided the approximate time frame of the incident that he was looking for, and Taylor stated that the closed-circuit TV system was located in the basement. They went and looked, did a protective sweep, did not locate any persons in the basement. They did a DVR box, no monitor attached to it. They waited for Mr. Taylor to arrive. He arrived at the scene about 5:50 p.m. They were able to get a hold of the security company, and the security company stated that they would be able to get a remote login for Duos surveillance video. However, it would not be until the next day, which would have been on the 16th of March. So on the 16th, at about 12:30 p.m., T.I. Gullifer received an email from Glasson, who was the from the technology company where this surveillance video was kept. T.I. Gullifer returned on the 17th and then downloaded the surveillance video to review. During this video review, he learned that Ivory was indeed present at the bar at about 3:33 p.m. Ivory appeared to arrive by himself, not in the company of anybody else. He also observed in the video that there was a cookout on the side of the building with a bartender serving product and approximately 15 patrons inside the establishment, patrons entering and exiting through unlocked doors. This is a real brief synopsis timeline of what he got Ivory arrived at 15:32 hours. He was observed outside at 15:33 hours. He enters the bar at 15:34 hours through the rear door, puts his sweatshirt hood up prior to entering the establishment, which he thought was notable. At 15:37 hours, bartender places 2 slushy drinks in front of an unidentified female subject. The female passes one of them to Ivory. Ivory leaves Duo Bar through the front door with the drink in his hand. T.I. Gullifer also mentions in his report that he's not sure if the slushy drink had alcohol in it. In further review of the surveillance video, he observed several unidentified people clearly smoking inside the establishment. The bartender and/or persons in charge did not appear to confront any of the individuals that were smoking. T.I. Gullifer reviewed the Bar and Grill's Wisconsin Department of Revenue license application, and their stated license hours are Sunday through Saturday, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. The retail reserve Class B license he also reviewed, and the stated license hours within the city of Racine are 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. So clearly, in his review of the video and checking on the licenses and everything like that, they're in violation of their hours, because on the second, they're clearly operating outside their stated business hours. He also went through and was able to identify who was at the establishment as far as having a valid license, so he confirmed that it was Gister, and he deemed that she was present and reasonably involved in the operation, so he did not cite them for anything as far as that goes. He did, however, cite Mr. Lewis for the following municipal citations: smoking on the premises, underage person on the premises, and violation of business hours. Time of this report, which was on April 13th, the investigation into the crash itself was still ongoing. So I can't really get into the investigation portion of that too much more. So that's the situation with Mr. Ivory at the bar. On the 5th of May, Duo's was open past closing hours. Mr. Lewis was cited for that. Officers came by on the 5th, about 2:47 hours, which is 2:47 in the morning. Still appeared to be about 30 cars parked around the business. He also observed 3 people walk into the bar and could hear music being played at the same time. Officer parked across the street. He was there for about 8 minutes, and when everyone started exiting the bar was in violation for closing hours for liquor premises. The bar should have been closed at 2:30, but he said it did not appear to officially close until 2:57 a.m. So Mr. Lewis was cited for that citation, or for that violation, rather. And then, as recent as last night, this one was added late. Officers came by, about 65 people or so, in or around the bar, on foot and in vehicles. So the officer went to try to make a tavern check, license premise check. Went to the front door, knocked on the door, nobody answered. And then this was about 2:11 in the morning, which it should be noted that they should have been closed at last night. 2 or 2:30?
Yep.
2. Sunday night. So the officer was on patrol, providing extra attention to the area. Other officers called out a fight at another bar, and then, which was about 15 minutes prior to this. It appeared that many of the patrons came from that other establishment over to this one, from officers who were at the other location. And again, they attempted contact at the front door, nobody answered. They then went to the back door because they had seen people go through the back door. and they also did not receive a response at the back door. However, they could clearly hear people behind the door saying to be quiet. After they were standing outside the establishment for a couple of minutes, back door finally opened and about 30 people exited the bar. Door was left open by the people that walked out. Officer walked in, did his premise check. There were still open beer bottles, mixed drinks sitting on the counters, and the room was filled with smoke and smelled like freshly burnt marijuana, according to the officer. He also did note that the licenses were hung up on the wall. Officer walked back outside to try to get contact with one of the females that left the bar to ask if they were a licensee, and this female said no and continued to walk away. Officer stood outside waiting for about 5 minutes to see if someone would come back to lock up the establishment, since there were lots of liquor obviously still in there, as well as cash registers. Since no licensee was on the premise to talk to, Lewis will be cited for following citations: exterior doors must remain closed, licensed person on premises, and smoking prohibited. That was as of last night at 2 in the morning, this morning. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Any comments from the committee?
Guess I'd like to hear from him first.
Okay, sir?
Okay, so I'm gonna speak on the, what I'm here for. So, again, I pleaded not guilty to all 3 of those citations. It was a private event. We never served.
Are you talking about the March 2nd one?
The one y'all ticketed me a month and a half later about that one. It was a private event. That person he was referring to got in a car crash, wasn't right after they left our establishment, but got into a car crash, was never served liquor by anyone in our thing. It was, again, a private event with a barbecue. No bartender in the facility served him that. As far as the report from the police officers, he was always called back. He even stated we played phone tag. I met him at the location, so that's inaccurate about him having to he got the search warrant on whatever case. Like, when we was here, I remember vividly talking to you, and you said, well, I said, so if you need something from us, you said, well, maybe they're just working. So we gave him the audio, which cost us, which hasn't been paid, gave him the audio with our people from Glasson, provided him with that. It was never a runaround. He didn't include on that. I met him at the police department. I talked to him multiple times. It wasn't a runaround as if we was ignoring him. He met and talked with everybody at the bar. It wasn't, he was calling, no one was calling back. We were playing phone tag. As many messages as he said he left, he was called back that time. But again, this was a private event. No one served this person liquor, and he could have been in there. It was younger kids in there. It was a family event. It wasn't the bar wasn't open as if it was the bar. This was on the dance hall side of things, like we talked about at every other one of these hearings today. It was not the bar being open and he was served liquor. He never was served liquor from anyone at the establishment. They saying he was passed. Again, it's slushies with liquor in it, it's slushies without. I don't know what somebody passed him. Again, that family event there had zero to do with someone from the bar serving him a drink. And as far as the smoke and these other citations they have for smoke, we do sell hookah. People can smoke cigars. So looking at a video and saying this was a month and 10 days later, these citations was issued. It was like nothing was done at the time this allegedly happened. So I'm unsure of, again, how a video was looked at that we provided, and they said, I don't know, I'm just a little puzzled on that. That's why I put the non-guilty in for those 3 tickets. So, I'm a little confused.
Yes, sir.
Well, so the one event where you said the young man wasn't served, but you still weren't supposed to be open till 7 p.m. Your hours
That's the bar hours, correct?
well, it's in the bar. I mean, no matter what you, it's, oh, go ahead.
So when you have a Class B license, you're licensed for those specific hours. You can't run any other business, you can't be open outside of those hours. You don't get to do another business when the bar's not open. When the bar doors are open and you're using the building, you have the Class B license, you are subject to the underage restrictions for underage persons on premises. You do have to operate within those hours.
Okay, so.
No, you're not gonna,
No, you're not.
wait till we're done, okay, over here. So, and then this thing last night now, I mean, you got all this stuff last night, nobody was in the bar, you got issued citations. Last year, when you guys came forward, we had a concern where we gave you kind of a 6 month, what is that called again? No, I'm sorry, where the formal expression of concern. So all summer that was on your head and you guys did fine. I mean, so, but now I see all these different calls on this licensed premise report. I mean, it just seems like things just keep happening unless you guys are put under the gun, so to speak, to, you know, because next time you're gonna be, your license taken away. So I have some huge concerns about all this stuff that keeps going on. So, anyone else?
I have a question about last night.
Yes,
Is that,
yes.
so you're saying that everybody kind of vacated the building?
Please,
It's my turn. So, it was just left vacant? Everybody just kind of ran?
According to the officer's report.
I've been watching this bar for
This second, please.
over a year now. So I have noticed that they have been on this report nonstop. So I have a huge problem with it. I also have a huge problem with that accident, regardless of, you know, here or there. I get that it's still an ongoing thing. I have a huge problem with that. I'm gonna let somebody else go for a minute.
Yes, sir. Are we called?
Oh, no, I wanted the barrel.
The bar wasn't open last night, just so we clear. The bar was not open at all last night.
Okay, well, somebody got in there. The officer didn't make it up.
I am kind of have to echo, Alder Cole's comments, because I'm seeing 5 citations in like 2 or 3 months, and that is a concern to the community. Yes.
You mentioned you weren't open. Do you have security cameras? Are you able to review them? I mean, were you made aware that there was a concern last night?
No.
And did you know that you weren't supposed to be operating your licensed premise, outside of the allotted time frame?
Not until I spoke with, I believe that was you, wasn't it? Who was I speaking? I forgot who I spoke with. I don't even remember her name. It's in my email, but I was speaking with someone and she made me aware of that and said that a change will have to be put in, so.
If you wanted to operate outside of, okay. Did we have other people signed up for a public comment
Is there-
on this item?
Yeah, I was signed up to it.
Okay. Are you done asking questions, then?
Okay, is there any other questions for Mr. Lewis? If not, then, is anyone else signed up? Would you
I just
come?
have one question for Mr.
I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand.
Just one question of Mr. Lewis. So you said that last night your bar was not open?
Correct.
Then how is it that there could be up to 65 people in the bar if it was not open?
I'm utterly confused about.
Who has keys to the location?
So what door?
To the location.
Any door.
Is everything okay?
We're asking you some
No, I'm
questions.
saying, but you dropped your thing, you said you need you a minute, I'm saying is, I just wanna be talked to like everybody else is here, regardless of why I'm here. I just feel like you being,
I asked you
I'm
a
just,
question,
right, I'm saying,
so just answer it.
I have the keys, the manager has the keys.
Did you get your question answered? Okay. Sir, would you come up so you could be sworn in, please?
You need me to stay here?
No, I don't think they have any more questions, sir. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Yes, sir. Would you please?
Be sure to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you.
All right, as far as yesterday too, we was closed all day. And if your police ride through all the time, they'll let you know that we've been closed all day. We didn't open up not one time yesterday. Not one single time yesterday. And we're gonna say that just telling us that somebody who came in there and the police was at the bar, we didn't know nothing about it. Nobody was in there. We never had no bartenders, not, our cashiers were never rung up, not one thing. We never was in there, period, at all. Our cook wasn't even there. There's the cook that y'all was talking about, Melissa Guilford. Nobody was in our bar at all yesterday.
Were you guys in there today by chance?
In there today?
Were you guys, anybody in there today at all? To see what's what?
He's off on Monday.
So nobody's been there today?
We were talking about that. That's when we been notified of this one situation. This is blind.
And nobody called me, that's upset, so I can't even, what you said, the bar wasn't open. So when you asked me about something, that's not even what I was called here for. That's why I said I wanted to speak on the issue. I was called here before the.
Well, you're called here on the issue of having issues at the bar.
All right,
Regardless of, it's not just one issue.
No.
That's what.
No, I understand that, but
And I put this in there last night because I just ran across it this morning.
And no one called me at all, that's what I'm saying.
So it happened at what did I say, 2:11?
2:30.
This morning.
Right, and the bar wasn't open.
And the only reason I saw it is because I just ran across it in the address.
Right, but I'm saying, and that's what I'm saying, the bar wasn't open, so again, if.
I understand, and that's why I'm asking, has anybody been there today to see if anything
It don't open.
missing or anything like
We
that?
don't open at all on Mondays.
You're not open on Mondays at all?
No, not all on Mondays and Sunday, we don't open up at all because it's been too much going on at all the bars, there've been a lot of fights. As you said, it was fights after fights, so we knew not to open because as you know, when people drink, sometimes things happen, everybody's out for the summer. Everybody's out for the summer, so and as the police saying that it was, they came to that bar on, when you just mentioned that on Saturday, and we were closed down, they came for a fight down the street, like way down the street, like almost at the end by the bus station. They don't have nothing to do with duos.
So,
Okay, I agree.
yes, please.
Yeah, so this is what, I mean, I don't think anyone's making this up. It says, Monday, May 13th, and this was at 2:30. Officers observed a large crowd at Duos which appeared to come from 1518 bar where there was another disturbance. Officers observed about 65 people outside the bar, and they also observed people walk into the back door of the bar. Officers attempted to make contact at the front door to do a licensed premise check, but the door was locked. Officers knocked, but there was no answers. Officers then went to the back door where again they got no answer, but could clearly hear people inside stating to be quiet. A short time later, the bar appeared to clear out, and when officers went to check the bar, it was left wide open with nobody in the building. Bar owner was issued several citations for the incident. I don't think someone would make up that they saw 65 people walking in.
Well, and then again, we done been here how many times? When have we ever ran or not came outside? And not a bartender, not the manager, not Gerard, have not been there. It was not open. If you look on your cameras there or the police cameras when y'all walk, we haven't opened that whole day at all. So why would we open up at 2:30 in the morning if we haven't opened up all day?
And this is what time the police
It's the tenant upstairs that opened the door. Maybe they got in through the back. It's the tenant that's upstairs from our bar. So we didn't open the bar at all. Not one bartender was in there, not no manager was in there.
I'm not saying, but I mean, I don't think a police officer is lying.
So what I'm saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
please,
Yep.
everybody, please.
Discussion back and forth that maybe would be better had if we had a due process hearing.
Okay.
This point.
I think Attorney Earn makes a good point, so that we're not going back and forth. I think the motion should be to have a due process hearing, so that, the issues can be worked on.
No, I gotta ask the formal question.
I'm sorry, let me clarify. What I meant to say is, this back and forth about whether a violation actually
Right.
took place, is a better discussion to be had in front of the due process board when that time comes. At this point, the committee has called the licensee in to address problems. The focus, I would recommend, would be to how to address the problem going forward. If this ever gets to a due process hearing, they do have their day in court. They can certainly contest those allegations, but the committee is not here to make a finding on whether or not those allegations are true.
So, yes,
I agree that we do need to see how we can best move forward.
Yeah.
And I take absolutely the word of the officer that there was an officer there last night and observed those folks. I am concerned that nobody was, not the manager, not the owner, not the cook, no one was on premises, but somebody had access to get into that building. And I'm wondering how that issue is going to be addressed, whether it's the tenant from upstairs letting people in, or how is that going to be addressed so something like that cannot happen going forward?
Yeah, I don't think that, the tenant let them in because the tenant works all day and she got kids. So I wonder if one of the kids ended up leaving the door unlocked for them to come in. And we usually lock our back door, so we got a lock to our bar. They can't come into the bar if we lock it.
okay.
But we also have a cleaning person to come and clean, and when they come and clean, we come and lock it on the Monday, and we didn't end up locking it on Sunday, because she cleans on Sunday, and then we'll come in and lock it on Monday.
Going back, I think what we need to do is figure out how we can solve the problems, all the things that have been listed. What can we do to help you move, or what can you guys do to successfully move forward so that you're not having to have to worry about coming in or things like that?
So right now, we're thinking, when we open up at the Cook at 7, we're gonna start closing at 11 as well. So we really only open for the cooking business and then have a little crowd in there. And we're thinking about going to 30 and up, so we can eliminate the crowd. But no matter if we eliminate the crowd, it's still just people come. So we're trying to eliminate it. If we have any problems, we're gonna start calling the police and let them know there's a crowd outside.
Yeah. I'm not sure what, go ahead.
So just a question about the formal expression of concern that was last issued. When was that?
That was last issued in,
Thought it was recent. Yeah.
it would have been September 25th, 2023.
And that goes for 6 months, so that would go
Yes.
until February or March?
I'm sorry, that was the last one that was not rescinded. Yes, so it would have been 6 months from that date. They were called in again February 26th of this year. That one was rescinded by this committee, so it doesn't count towards the 2 or 3 strikes rule. So really what you have is the September 2023, and then this incident, when they were called in, the date would have been April 8th. So this is 2 outside of the 6-month period.
Okay, so what is the step, what's the next step? Do we do another formal expression of concern, or
So,
do we?
So the effective date right now is September 25th, 2024. If they get another one before September 25th of 2024, that would be 3 in a 1-year period, and that would require due process.
So I think the discussion now, are these items that are listed on here, do they warrant another expression? And I would think that they do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if y'all
All
can
the-
do it, then we
all the-
can bring it up right now, then, right? It should have been brought up on the next one. But y'all bring it into us now, so it's here.
Alder Capri?
I didn't follow you
No,
there.
I was saying, she was saying that with the other concerns that he just wrote yesterday, but he's bringing it up today, right? Is that the same concern, or is that different?
The committee wanted to, based on the licensed premise report, make another motion for a formal expression of concern. They can do that based on the new calls. Because you were called in last time based on the March 2nd.
March 2nd, the one that we're talking about right now, right?
The homicide, yes.
Yeah.
So, as for the incident that's been discussed today, or the one last night, I think it would be, quite concerning on behalf of yourselves who run it, that if somebody's having access to your premise and creating an issue, and so, I mean, it's disturbing to us, it should be equally disturbing to you as well.
It is disturbing, and I'm saying, why
Yeah.
wasn't the police
I'm
arrested
sorry.
last night?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We wasn't there, nobody was arrested.
Okay, well, Jim, okay.
So to
I don't-
make
I'm
my
not trying-
point, if I
just
could
don't
just
wanna-
continue.
go.
Being that, I'm just gonna push that one aside, because it sounds like that one needs to get worked out, but not here. So without even that consideration, I wanna go back to, where I find an issue, where I would support a formal expression of concerns today. And that has to do with, being open when the licensed premise should not have been open. So whether it was for a private party, if you will, and, but not allowable. So, the part that is troubling in a sense is if you're gonna have a business, especially a business that you're privileged because you're able to serve liquor. It's up to the business to do their homework and understand what's in the parameters of what's allowable. So it's not up to me, in a sense, to do your homework for you, right? Because it's you who wants to run a liquor establishment. So understanding that, you can only operate from 7 PM till 2 or whatever the time is, right? You know, that is just, in a sense, basic knowledge. It's within your framework, so you know where to operate, right? So that part is the part that I'm troubled by. But what settles me is that you know now, you hear it now, right? You know for absolute certainty that not being able to operate a business prior to 7 PM at night, you know that. So, also what happened during that time when you shouldn't have been operating, and maybe because in your mind you thought because it was a private party, you could allow smoking in and out, but again, being that you were not to, be operating during that time. So when the camera had caught, what was talked about in the review is that they saw smoking on premise, right? So that part, just operating during a time in which you shouldn't have been operating. And we have that, again, that's putting aside any conversation that happened last night. It's just really focusing on those bits. So I would hope, moving on forward, that the business of, the times of operation, even though you mentioned you're proposing some ways to help, solve a problem that you're seeing as a business manager, operator, I'm sorry, I don't know your title, that you're hoping to resolve those issues, so that's great. So we probably should never see that again. I'm not sure with how, we function now. I just know before when, somebody would come in, a business owner or agent would wanna talk about, you know what, we wanna work within these certain timeframes now to help solve a problem. I think in the past, we used to have you sign something, but there was no binding because there was no law behind it, so I don't think we do that anymore. We would have, the agent or the owner sign an agreement with the city, even, basically, it's like a handshake, but, you know, there was no law supporting behind that. Do you know what I'm talking about? Oh, you still do that? Okay. It might be something we want to consider. It's just kind of almost like, hey, you know what, we're serious about our business. We want it to be successful. We understand there's some concerns, and, so it's basically, we're both hearing each other in the conversation. It might be something, you know, I'm not asking that of you right now. It might be something you may voluntarily want to do.
Quick question. Even though that we have a bar in the middle, right, and we're able to serve out the window, right, and our time is somehow switched, but our time never used to be from 7 until 2:30. It used to be before, because we used to serve a breakfast. We've been open 4 years.
Okay.
We serve breakfast, we serve lunch. We done did that for 4 years. So this new thing about 7 to 2:30, we have a bar and grill. We serve food. Sometimes we don't even open the bar at all. She just serves food. So
Yeah, well, maybe we can find that out if we have that.
yeah.
Those are the hours on the application.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The new application say 7 to 2:30, but we used to always serve food, so I don't know what happened or how it got mixed up, but we've been serving, the police used to come here and eat breakfast every morning. So I don't understand, like, if that's the case, of 4 years of being open, we used to open, we just started, like, the new cook, so, but we used to open at 8 o'clock in the morning and serve breakfast. We do brunches.
I can always look that up for you.
You see what I'm saying? I'm just saying it's 4 years later and now we're getting a ticket for opening up at, we've been doing, if we thought if we were in the wrong, it would have never happened, you know? And we serve out a window, so we can be able to serve out our window in the kitchen. We can start serving and cook however we want to. We just did, the law said we gotta close by 4 AM, from 4 AM to 4 AM, 4 PM to 4 AM.
Mm-hmm.
4 AM to 4, whatever.
Just 1 second. 1 second, please. Oh, Attorney Ernst, what type of license, do they have a class, large B? Could you explain exactly what type of license they have, please?
They have a little B and a big B, so fermented malt beverages and intoxicating liquors, so a full Class B license.
Okay, but they mentioned the restaurant side.
Well, they're running a bar and grill,
Okay,
the Class B license.
okay. Yes, you would have to be sworn in, though.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, could you come up?
It's up to you, you're the chair.
Come up then, please. But you're gonna have to keep it to about 3 minutes,
No, I
Okay.
want clarification so I know what I'm legally able to do.
Can you state your name, please?
Melissa Gibson.
Thank you. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
My question would be, you, the attorney, you just said that you could get him the hour operation, just not right now. I open tomorrow. Like, I really need to know when we can and cannot be open. I'm a stickler for, I don't wanna deal with y'all. I wanna stay on the good side. Like, I've had my own business. So, to be here for so much negative, like, no, this is not how I want Duo ran.
I told him I would look into when those hours change, but as for the hours right now, I can certainly get.
Yes, please, 'cause like you said, we have a pickup window, and the bar does not have to be open. I don't even put the bar on sign on when the kitchen is open. I have my own on light, the front door is locked, you can't come in, you have to pick up and go. But I need to know that I'm not breaking the law by being open at 5 PM or noon, whatever I choose to do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't know who this is a question for, but you guys said you serve food till 4 AM in the morning?
No, I was just saying, it's the window, and before we got this, said that we were able to serve food until 4 in the morning, but we haven't did it, I'm just saying, we don't, there's no set time, we never did it before.
There is no serving food till 4 AM, that was my,
Yeah, I've
No,
been
we
here
never-
till
we-
3:30 at one point.
State law prohibits you from serving food outside of the bar closing hours when you have a Class B premises. So if you have a restaurant, that's fine, you're not serving alcohol, you can serve food any time of day. However, when you have a Class B license, you are governed by Chapter 125, which prohibits you from running any business outside of those closing hours. So the max that you can open on the weekday is 2 AM. The max that you can open on a Friday and Saturday night is 2:30. No business can be operated from the premises after that, even if you're just serving food and not alcohol. Because you have a Class B license, it applies to the entire business.
and the reason why I bring that up is because the previous people that ran the bar were running food out of there till 3, 4, 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
And it became,
I thought I could do it.
it became a huge problem, and we told them, nope, we tell everybody, no way that we can do that.
Okay, so you said Sunday through Thursday till 2 AM, and then Friday and Saturday, 2:30 AM? Okay.
So 2:30.
Yep,
So the hours at
that's bar time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's saying I have to be closed the same time.
Right. That's,
Those are the maximum hours allowed by state. However, when you apply for a license, you state exactly when you're going to open, and you're bound by those hours. So I'm looking up your hours, your application, to say what you put in your application, and those are the hours you're bound by. So it's not necessarily the state, you can't go past the state hours. But if you bound yourself to from 7 PM to 2 AM, then you're stuck with those hours.
What you asked.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so you said you see what the application said?
And what year was that, if you can tell us, Stacy?
So I'm looking at the most current license, which is valid from July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024, and the hours stated on the application that you have on the premises that should be hung up actually states Sunday through Saturday, 7 PM to 2 AM. So those are the hours that you have to operate within. And that means by 2 AM, there are no patrons on the premises. That means you have to stop music at 1:30. The ordinance requires you to do that. By 2 a.m., the only person that can be allowed on the premises are your employees performing job-related activities. You can't have a private party, you can't have friends over, you can't have family over to have drinks. When you're running a bar with a Class B, you're prohibited from doing that. So by 2 o'clock, everyone is out the door.
And that,
And now that you see that, you just said by 2 o'clock, and you notice that we used to stay open to 2:30, so somewhere in there online, I don't know if you can, it got changed, and I don't know why it got changed, because we was always open to 2:30 on Saturdays, Fridays and Saturdays, and then every other day, it was 2 o'clock. You even just said it for yourself, because you know that's what we use.
Well, I was telling you what the state hours are, and you're telling me that you used to open until 2:30. I never said you could legally do that unless your hours state that. So you're always bound by the hours you put in your application. So I can look at your applications from each year and tell you what was in there.
I know it's for 2:30 for sure, because they came in there plenty of times, and we'd have everybody out by 2:30, so now that you're saying 2, that wasn't a problem for us, because we always had it as 2:30 on Fridays and Saturdays.
That's certainly
That's
something
fine.
that I can talk to you about, and
Thank
I'd be more than happy to meet with you to go over everything, just like we did at the Good Neighbors meeting before Ted.
how can it be adjusted or corrected or?
We gotta file, so we gotta put it in.
So the only way it can be amended is if you file a request and this committee approves, and the common council.
Okay, and are you saying, by you stating that means the kitchen can't serve from 7?
Yeah,
7 till 2.
7 p.m. to 2 a.m.
And
I just wanted to clarify, this is 7 PM they can open, not 7 AM.
That's what I see on the license.
So 7 PM is in the evening.
I know what that
So
is,
that,
okay.
okay.
but you're not helping me, ma'am. I open normally at 5
That's-
PM
that's
every
what I-
day, so I'm breaking the law every day and don't even know it.
So,
Okay.
what I-
Yeah, that's a good question, ma'am.
And that's part of it.
I'm
who
sorry,
is the
you have another
And
question?
that's part of it.
Okay,
That's who filled out the application.
I want to issue a new.
okay.
Yeah,
Does,
the agent fills out the application. We don't fill out the application.
Right, we know that, it's not, I'm.
okay,
Yeah.
guys, please,
It's a misunderstanding.
okay. If there are no more questions from the committee, everybody that wanted to speak has spoken, right?
Yes.
Okay, then at this point, a motion would be in order.
I want to do another formal expression of concern.
I have a motion for a formal expression of concern. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I want to hear from the attorney.
So, Mr. Chair, because this item specifically deals with the last formal expression of concern, the appropriate motion would be to receive and file. Once you get to the licensed premise report, then you could do another motion for a formal expression of concern.
Okay, I need a motion to receive and file.
All right, so moved.
A motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We will receive and file this item at this point.
May I ask a question real quick before we
Yes.
proceed? Okay, so instead of receiving and file, could we, make a motion to have it on the agenda? Is that something that we can do? Instead of
What do you
receiving
mean?
and filing?
Have what on there, Cindy?
Like have it
Well, so
where
we are gonna
shows
take it up
on
later
the-
on we are gonna take it up later on this.
So it shows up on common council instead of just receiving and file?
He can actually pull it up and talk about it at the council.
Okay.
A received and filed item.
Okay.
So that's fine.
Okay.
Moving on.
Yeah.
All right, so, I'm sorry, we were, okay. We simply received and filed it, so it's on record, that's it.
Okay, so it's on record.
Oh, yeah, just work on,
It's like a warning.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. I just wanted to clarify.
yeah, you're good, just, try to, as she said earlier, try to make sure things are going smoothly.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on.
Okay, our next item, oh, so you're good now? Yeah,
All right, appreciate it.
okay. Just make sure they understand the hour situation.
Yep, I appreciate it.
All right, sir.
Yep.
Okay,
dinner, y'all.
thank you. 0402-24, communication sponsored by myself, Racine Recovery LLC, DBA Racine Recovery. I would like to move to defer, a motion to defer this item because Attorney Earn, would you like to address item 040224?
I did receive some complaints regarding Racine Recovery and overcharging, and I did forward that to the Racine Police Department to be investigated. The investigator, the traffic investigator who is looking into the matter is not here today. He was unable to get back to me. So I'm asking that the committee defer this for one meeting. Their license does not expire until June 30th. We do have another meeting prior to then, so it would not affect their license. But I'd like for the committee to at least hear from the police department before it makes its decision on the renewal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I just got something to say about this, for the fact that I know these individuals have a list that they can charge. They got a list from the city when we went through this last time, and this is all they can charge, and they have them posted. So when I called up the police department, I've heard of no complaints, and that's why I'm asking. You know, who's making the allegations that they're overcharging?
But the allegation is that they're using a third party to overcharge.
From one party?
For the complaint?
Yes.
Yes, and that was forwarded. So, when I did reach out to the police department, they indicated that they had received multiple complaints and that they were looking.
I would like to, any other comments or questions? If not, I would like a motion to move to defer item 040224 until the investigation is complete.
Don't move.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our next item is 0404-24, the subject communication sponsored by Alder Pete on behalf of the City Clerk's Office submitting a renewal application for a 2024-25 vehicle towing license for Jensen and Jensen Towing, Inc., DBA Jensen Towing Recovery, located at 2625 North Green Bay Road. There is also a renewal, so the applicant, this is also a renewal, so the applicant is not required to be here. Does the police department have anything for this item?
No.
Seeing none, I'm looking for a motion. And
Move to approve.
motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Our next item is 0405-24, subject communication sponsored by Alder Pete on behalf of the City Clerk's Office, submitting renewal request for intoxicating liquor and fermented malt beverages for the 2024 and 25 year. This is the first list from the City Clerk's Office for the liquor renewals. Are there any questions from the committee? Yes, sir?
Got a question. So when do we put in requests for bars that haven't been open? Is this the time?
Yes, so if it's on this list,
I don't know if
unless
it
the
is.
committee pulls this out separately.
Yeah,
it
well,
would be
we don't
approved
have
for
them,
renewal.
yeah. So $20,000 on Douglas Avenue has not been open. They actually have a reserve license. I don't know why they'd spend $20,000 on a license, but they have not been open. They've only been open a couple times.
In that case, Alder Cole, I would recommend a motion to pull this out separately and to call that licensee in.
Right, that's what I wanna do.
Okay.
We have a clarification here.
Yes.
I noticed that Dewey's is still on here.
Yeah, they did submit an application to reapply because they never surrendered. That would be another one. Well, I mean, they never turned a license to us at this point. I can't just take a license if they close. It'd be up to the committee to do so.
left it, but never want having them call in, so then you have to come in and say.
Well, which one did you wanna pull out? Which,
About 20 grand.
Oh,
Is there any more from the city clerk's office that are you aware of? Not operating?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but just those two, 'cause I thought there was a couple more.
One second to.
Yeah.
Dewey's or Dewey's?
Rudy's.
Yeah, but we were talking about Dewey's before, now they're talking about
Rudy's.
Oh.
so
They have a lot of same names.
20 grand.
oh, 20 grand.
I didn't know the list was here. I was a couple of time ago.
So do you always volunteer, do we volunteer?
No, I just thought there was another. That was wrong.
So,
I'm just looking through these real quick. I got a question, Brew House. Did they fill out a new application yet? The Brew House, out on the lakefront.
Reef Point?
Reef Point, yeah, I'm sorry.
Reef Point, I believe so, it is renewed, there's, I believe they're on here somewhere.
Well, the reason I'm asking that is 'cause I know they got a different person running it. So I just was curious.
Nope, I think their renewal is just in as normal right now.
Okay.
So, just a question on the back sheet of that list, there's,
That's the next item.
oh, that's the next item?
so are we good?
Yeah, I just thought there was another, no, this is the first list, right? Okay. Thank
Okay.
Give me 1 minute. 82.
I'm looking for a motion, but I wanna confirm that we wanna pull 20 grand out, is that correct? Yes, okay. So the motion is to, approve the list with minus 20 grand. Is there a motion to do so for item?
Dewey's.
And Dewey's, move to approve.
And Dewey's, you must said pull it out too?
Dewey's.
Okay. So is there a motion? I have a motion, is there a second? Hold me a second. Motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Our next item is, we'll come back to, Dewey's and 20 grand after we're done with all this, that's possible?
It'll be on the next agenda item, so we call before.
Okay. Okay, item, thank you. 041524, communication sponsored by myself on behalf of the city clerk's office, submitting a list of liquor licenses which have not submitted renewal paperwork for intoxicating liquor and fermented malt beverages for the 24-25 year. This is a list of current license holders who have not yet turned in any paperwork for renewal. In the past, we have called these licensees in to explain. Are there any questions?
No.
Yes.
We actually don't need to call them in, so these are current licensees. They've been sent notice notices by the city clerk's office. If they wish to reapply and renew, that's fine. If they don't, that's fine, but we don't actually have to call these in because we're not denying renewal. If there's no application placed, there's nothing to do.
Okay. And the clerk's office simply sends out a reminder or something so they can't say, oh, I never knew.
Yes, they send out reminders, with the application packet.
Okay, thank you.
So if they don't respond, then
Then-
the license doesn't get renewed.
It just basically expires if they don't.
What is
Okay.
it?
June 30th.
Is it a certified letter? Again, I'm just thinking about, oh, I never got the letter, or,
It's not legally required, Mr. Chair.
okay,
So
just
The
curious.
only thing that's legally required is if we deny a renewal
Okay.
application.
Okay,
To each licensee, if they want to apply for renewal, they apply. It's not our
gotcha.
job to chase them.
The onus is on the applicant, okay. Thank you. Okay, at this point, I'm looking for a motion and a second.
Motion to approve?
Have a motion, is there a second to approve item
Second
041520?
to receive and file.
Have a motion to, second to receive and file. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Our next item, we'll take up item number 038824 and 038924 together. If we're to call any establishment in from the police report, we will take vote on the establishment to call in for formal expression, and will need a separate vote to recommend for approval for the call items to go to the council. Item 038824, subject communication sponsored by myself on behalf of the City of Racine Police Department for the licensed premise report.
Pretty much covered the big ones with duos. The next one I would probably be concerned about would be 1518. Their biggest problem is, like we discussed at the last meeting, is the parking lot in the back. It continues to be a problem. However, it is Mr. Buckley that usually is the caller. So, not usually someone else, it's usually him, which is the bar owner, calling in stating that there's numerous issues outside, large crowd gatherings, somebody to come and deal with it, other than him dealing with it. So, the parking lot continues to be an issue with. And beyond that,
Question on 1518, do they have private security there?
I don't know if they do.
Sometimes.
They do sometimes?
They state that they provide it,
Okay.
they've stated before us.
Yeah.
I don't think it's us.
No, not us.
Yes.
It's not the police department.
So with the confusion from the last meeting and he withdrew, where does that leave that establishment?
So, as of right now, they have two within a 7-month period. If they get anything else, if they get another call-in between now and September 25th of this year, that would require a due process hearing. Leading up to a due process hearing, my office would usually could negotiate with the licensee. If we feel that certain issues can be resolved short of revocation, we can make that settlement. That settlement would then come back before the committee to be approved if that were the case. So if it does go to due process, and it's not settled, then the license could be suspended anywhere from 10 days up to 90 days, or it could be revoked.
I think she was talking about 1518.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, in regards to the applicant that came
Our
before
last
us
meeting.
last
That's-
time that had.
Oh, yes.
Except it wasn't her.
Information.
Yeah, it was great, thank you.
It wasn't her, though, that's the problem.
Yeah.
So as of right now, he has withdrawn his application, so the 1518 continues to operate under their license. The conditional surrender is now null and void because there's no one to conditionally surrender it to. And we might be in the process of submitting a new applicant. I don't know, we haven't received anything yet, as far as I'm aware. So as of right now, it's sort of in limbo. They continue to operate until something else happens.
Okay. And if I heard, I didn't see their name on here, but I heard that there was something that happened last night. Or
Yeah,
morning, I
on
guess.
duos, the people, it says the
There was
people,
the crowd from, it was
15, 18,
crowd
one
from 15, 18,
Yeah,
I believe,
that's what it,
that was the crowd that moved over to duos.
Okay, so we'll see that.
sound like Buckley called the police and they all just went to duos.
But they weren't open.
Yeah. Doors were locked.
I don't know how the committee feels, but I'd like to call them in again because Summer's not even here and, they're on here
Which one?
15, 18.
Okay.
There's 8 calls for service on here,
Yep.
just for here that relate to license premise issues.
Right.
That doesn't mean that there weren't others that
Yeah.
aren't necessarily related to this.
Yeah, no, some of them are, they called in and stuff like that, but,
Correct.
you know, and the other one, citations.
Some of these also, the 8 calls for service, the 8 calls for service are just from April 5th until today. And it's 1, 2,
6 or 8.
three of those calls for service were, extra attentions initiated by the officers. The other 5 were essentially the crowd issues. Okay.
So Mr. Buckley called in 5 times, and then the other 3 were from the officer's observation.
Okay.
And I'd like to call them in again just because I said Summer's not even here yet.
So I get,
This can't be continuing.
now, do we take the formal expressions up individually, or do we list them all together? I'm not sure how we do that.
Make a motion on each formal expression.
Okay. So, well, first of all, Officer Tillman, I think you said nothing other than what we've already discussed stuck out.
Correct.
Okay. So, thank you.
No other citations issued or anything like that with, any of the other places.
Okay.
Taste of Soul still has their issues. Food truck. Okay. So Taste of Soul, they're having crowds, people, again, hanging out after bar time for the most part. Some of that is due to, there's a food truck that's out there,
Mm-hmm.
which is open, and people obviously are gathering around that. And that's like a magnet for people right there.
What time can the food trucks be out there open till?
I don't believe there are any restrictions on.
Because it is his food truck also.
Right, but if they're not serving alcohol and it's not on a licensed premise, and if they're just parked on the street, just serving food, they can do that. As long as they're not violating any parking regulations.
Does that become an extension of the restaurant?
That's it.
Just based upon the last meeting, the gentleman that you're asking about it, and we told him he couldn't, so why they can and why not.
Are you asking if the food truck is parked outside and it's owned by the same owner?
It is.
So if it's not inside the building and it's not on the licensed premise, then it's not on that licensed premise. Because when this committee grants a license for alcohol, it states the exact area where alcohol can be stored, served, consumed. So if the truck's not on there, then it's not.
He's good.
And they can just stay in that spot and that move?
As long as they have permission from the owner or the street, if they're not in violation of any parking restrictions, then I don't know of anything that would require them to move.
Are we still having issues with, I worked across the street last summer, so I got a front row seat to the 509 and Taste the Soul at night. So are we still having the issues with them all crowding, gathering in the middle of the streets, blocking service vehicles and all that?
It's just basically so large crowds be, say if they're necessary. I've seen specifically. Still a large crowd, causing trouble, being loud, arguing. Some of those were called in by the owner, to their credit. Not just always somebody else. There was a couple calls that were called in by the owner.
Okay.
McCray, I believe.
Okay, at this point, we're kind of doing it a little bit differently, but is there a motion for a specific item for a formal expression of concern? I understand, I thought we had at least two.
Yep, I would make a motion for duos for a formal expression of concern.
I have a motion for Duos Bar and Grill for a formal expression of concern. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I do have a question on that, though.
Okay.
Okay.
So during this time, when there is a formal expression, if they come in and want to revise their hours of operation, can they do that?
They can certainly apply. The committee could defer the item, or it could deny.
So they can apply to amend that so that.
You can apply, yes.
Okay. Just a comment here, they can only, but they can only apply to open earlier anyway. They can't apply to close beyond their closing times. That's the only thing they could change, so we want to open at 3 o'clock or something.
Well, their hours daily are 7 a.m. to 2 a.m.
Mhm.
So technically, they could apply to extend the closing hours to 2:30 on Friday and Saturday nights as well.
On Friday and Saturday, okay.
As they could amend to start open at 7 a.m. Serve that breakfast out the window.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we have a motion and a second. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we had a, discussion.
And we did vote already.
We did vote, so we're good. Motion passes. Okay, our next formal expression,
1518.
1518. Is there a motion for a formal expression? I have a motion for a formal expression for 1518. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I believe at this point, we've exhausted our agenda.
We got a,
Excuse me.
oh,
I'm sorry.
To approve 38924, so it'll go to the council, and then I need a motion to file 0388.
so moved on both of them.
I have a motion on both. Is there a second on both items? 38824 and 38924. Excuse me. I need a second on 388 and 389, please.
Don't we also have to, Marco's left?
That was already voted to defer.
Yeah, we
Okay, I
voted
didn't
to
know
defer
we did
that.
do it.
Just defer to the end of the meeting.
Yeah, we have to
Yeah, we-
defer it for 2 weeks.
Yeah. I thought we,
So can I clarify just
Yeah.
a little, so you wanted, I believe, to make a motion to defer to the end of the meeting, but you guys ended up voting on a motion to defer, and you all ayes.
Okay, so
So it was
they didn't come back anyway,
Yeah.
so.
So if you're just leaving it, you did make a motion and vote.
okay. Okay, but we still need the motion and a second on 388 and 389.
We have the motion.
Motion, but I didn't get a second.
Even file on.
Well, we're doing two separate things. One's receiving and file, and the other one is to approve the formal expression of concern.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, we're taking those up
He
together.
made a motion to approve both of them.
Well, one is to receive and file, maker of the motion there. Well, maybe it failed because there was not a second, and he's not paying attention, so I will
No,
call
I
it.
said both of them.
He said both.
Yes, but one we're receiving and file, the second one we're approving.
Yeah, I said, let's do that.
There you
So,
go.
I have a question.
That's why I
Before we
gave.
go any further. 388, you want to receive and file?
Mhm.
What if we approve it and have it go to council?
No, that's that whole report that was just
Yeah,
read. This is,
you know,
yeah.
yeah, you,
Don't we gotta
yeah, that's
receive and
just
file
report.
this?
It's not a,
We're
I guess you
almost
could
done.
say
We
an
got like a
action
minute.
item.
Can I make a clarification?
Not a, what you call an
Okay.
action item.
Yeah.
Please, okay, so 038824 is the police report.
Yeah.
That is him just presenting the report to everyone. We just normally receive and file,
Yeah.
so that his report goes away.
Okay.
So no action is taken on it.
Sorry, excuse me, so 038924 is the item that we use to call in these specific locations.
Right.
And that's the item that I will put all of these formal expressions for under, and that's the item where if you approve, that will go to council for everyone,
Right.
for them to see.
That's what I said.
I had a question about that, because I wanted the premise report to be approved and moved to council. So if we wanted to bring it up, something on there, instead of just receive and file it.
So I see what you're saying.
Do you
So what
understand?
would you-
Yeah, 'cause we did it,
then
yeah,
it's
we
there,
switched it to
And
that.
not
Not the one specific to do, you want the whole census report,
Yeah,
it's full of,
I want it on there,
Well, I
yeah.
usually create a new item. But as we usually.
then it's just
But I do
approved.
the- Well, no, I do the
Then it's a
recommendation
motion
of
to
it.
approve.
And just put it on the
Yeah,
council
if it's
agenda.
approved, then it'll be on the agenda.
I do that
So-
every time. I can do it in one of two ways.
Oh,
Of course, it's part of the committee would like, you can either approve, 0388 for the police report, if you
Mhm.
approve that, that whole item will
Yeah.
go, or I could attach it to 0389. I mean,
Let's
more
just do it.
transparency of probably approving the item.
Yeah.
Approve.
I'm hearing
to
everybody, so what are we agreeing to? You said,
Yeah. Motion to approve 88 and 89.
Second.
what, you ended up where you
Aye.
started.
No, he had, he
Changed
said.
it.
She said.
Okay.
Said done.
Any further discussion?
No.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The final comment I like to make is that our next meeting will be on Tuesday, May 28th, because we don't want to come and bring food in here Memorial Day, I guess.
No.
Okay.
Unless I can do, Zoom, I won't be here. I'll be in Virginia and Washington DC, I'm going to the White House on the 28th.
Enjoy. We are officially adjourned.
Okay.
Hammer it down.
We are adjourned.